Hey everybody, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and you are watching The Right to the People, where we use the first to defend the second every Friday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. So uncover your keyboards, fire up your fingers, and come join the conversation.
Hey everybody, glad to see you tonight. It is Friday, February 28th, 2020, and this is The Right of the People, where we use the first to defend the second. Well, we got a lot going on this week. This may be a long show, so buckle up. But before we get into all that, I'd like to welcome my yeah, see, I couldn't even say that with a straight voice. My esteemed panel members, back for more. We have Roll Call 219. How are you doing, sir? You're muted, Ro.
What's going on? Thanks for having me. I enjoyed the show, and thanks for everybody that's going to be in the side chat that I can't see because I'm on my phone.
And as usual, we have the one, the only, the Kingpin himself, David Bowling. How you doing, Kingpin?
Doing well, sir. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely welcome anytime, brother. That's why you get a link. Speaking of welcome, I'd like to welcome to the show for the first time, Glimtech Arms. How you doing, sir?
Thank you for the invite. I'm doing well. Thank you much. I know you needed some class here, so, had to send some help out for a Kingpin.
That's right. Got to have some, got to have my brothers in corrections out here, the thin gray line there.
Exactly.
But you understand that now you will never escape my clutches. You belong to me now.
That's okay. I don't mind.
And back for another appearance, we have Jason Spoon from Spoon CCW. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic tonight. How are you?
Out frickin' standing. Old Pickle out there, Calaveras 32 Special says maybe we should find out how drunk Roll Call is so we all have a warning. I trust that Roll Call would behave no matter how drunk he is. Roll Call is a fine, upstanding citizen.
And you've been drinking how much tonight?
I am hopped up on Rockstar. Matter of fact, I gotta open another one.
Good sound.
Rockstar Pure Zero, the Silver Ice. Unfortunately, they are not a sponsor. I wish they were. If you guys want to sponsor some Pro 2A programming, I can be bought. So there you go. Oh, that's actually pretty damn good. I haven't had that flavor before. Out there in the chat, we have Glimtech Arms playing double duty. We have Ghost Tactical, the ghostest with the mostest. You're always welcome to hop on, buddy. I know you are kind of busy at this time of day in your time zones, but if you can hop on, feel free. I know you got a link. Seven Wonders, Tactical Pickle, Calaveras 32 Specials out there, Rich White. Anybody that's out there, we got 11 watching now. Someone just left. How about that? Get. If you want to sound off out there in the chat, please do so. Otherwise, I will have no idea that you're out there, and I can't say hi. If you're listening to this on a replay, please make sure to leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about these issues that we're discussing tonight. If you are in any way like me, you would believe that the Second Amendment and the issues surrounding it are important and worthy of discussion. SS Pawn, welcome to the show, sir. I'm glad to see you out there in the chat. Hope you stick around and I don't drive you off with my blathering and blabbering and bloviating and gibbering insanity. Lockjaw, how you doing? I don't think I recognize the name. Welcome to the show. Hopefully you like what you see. So, all right. First, let's go ahead and let me get my topics up. Doggone it. The first thing we got to talk about is this atrocity that happened in Milwaukee this week at was it Coors Miller Brewing plant? Something like that. I think it was a Coors plant anyway. Absolutely disgusting. But, not only is the atrocity itself disgusting, but the media and the anti-gun politicians' reactions to it's disgusting. Hi, Bill Weevil. How you doing? This is a piece from Breitbart by A.W.R. Hawkins from February 26th. Gunman, 5 innocents dead after shooting near Molson Coors HQ. Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales held a press conference in which he reported that the number of victims in the Molson Coors attack stood at 5. The 5 deceased were all employees at the facility. Morales noted that the gunman, a 51-year-old male, was also deceased, that he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The identities of the gunman and innocent victims were withheld and may not yet be known as the investigation is ongoing. Update. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett spoke to reporters and confirmed multiple people have died, including the shooter, in an attack near Molson Coors headquarters. He said police were continuing to sweep to be sure that nothing more was occurring. They did identify the killer, and I am not going to speak his name at all, because I don't speak the name of these scumbag monster pieces of filth, because that is all that they are. But that did happen this week, and I didn't want to talk about it. I really didn't, but I felt that, being that it is the news, I kind of have to. But there's more to this story. Because, as we all know, the anti-gunners have a playbook by which they operate. Alan Gottlieb and Dave Workman proved that a long time ago when they uncovered the actual playbook. If you haven't read Dancing in Blood, it's a book by Alan Gottlieb and Dave Workman about how the media uses this playbook every single time one of these atrocities happen. I'm not going to call it a tragedy, because a tragedy is something like a hurricane or a tornado or an earthquake or a flood. This is an atrocity because it was committed by a sick, evil individual. So they do everything they can to exploit this stuff every time one of these happens. They don't even wait until the crime scene's cleared, as happened yet again. As you will see in this piece from the Washington Examiner, and I'll read a couple of these pieces before we have a little bit of discussion here, and then move on to the thumbnail and title. Democrats jump to politicize Wisconsin mass shooting before facts come in. On Wednesday evening, disturbing reports emerged of a mass shooting at a brewery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. An employee of Molson Coors Beverage Company shot and killed 5 co-workers before taking his own life in yet another tragic display of violence. The facts of the shooting are far from clear. We have no idea whether any current or past gun control proposal would have actually done anything to stop this from happening. Usually, there is no connection. But that didn't stop Democrats from using the issue to push their anti-gun agenda. Never one to let a crisis go to waste, 2020 presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren jumped on the Wisconsin tragedy within hours to promote her gun control agenda. "We need to act now to end the gun violence epidemic," she tweeted, alongside her condolences. The Massachusetts Democrat was joined by other elected Democrats, such as Representative Ted Deutsch, Florida, who shamelessly exploited the tragedy for political purposes when he tweeted, "Americans continue to die while McConnell's Republicans do nothing." Other Democratic congressmen, such as Representative Mark Pocan, D., Wisconsin, also used the tragedy for political purposes, as did the anti-gun group Newtown Action. In contrast, some Democrats, such as Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers and Senator Tammy Baldwin, deserve credit for putting out measured and fairly apolitical responses, waiting for facts to come in. So too, Republicans such as Senator Ron Johnson and President Trump both offered their condolences without immediately politicizing the event. This rather than Warren's shameless grandstanding on fresh corpses, is the proper way to respond to a tragedy. We don't know the details of this Wisconsin shooting and whether they even support one side or the other of the gun debate. As a matter of fact, even the Washington Post's fact-checker admitted in 2015 that none of the mass shootings from that time would have been prevented by the gun control legislation being considered and proposed at the time. The idea that these tragic incidents somehow validate the Democrats' position is a fallacy, as again and again they propose measures that would not prevent the shootings that occur. What's more, the immediate and shameless politicization of every tragedy by Democratic lawmakers is distasteful and polarizing. So we'll pause there for a minute because there is more to the story. But what do you guys think of this so far? And who did we lose? Did we lose somebody? No, I don't think we did.
We definitely lost somebody. So,
Yeah.
Spoon.
Oh, Jason
Okay.
popped out.
Spoon.
Okay. So, what do you guys think so far? Does this come as a surprise to any of you?
No, not at all. You know, there's everything about this story is the opposite of what they push all day, every day. So that's why that hasn't been on the news. You know, it happened, and most people.
I'll tell you in a little bit why it actually hasn't been on the news, but continue.
Yeah, all this. I heard that it happened, and then all the details that I've got from it, I got from Glenn about 20 minutes ago on Gary's show.
Yeah. This popped up on the radar, and they started to make a big deal of it, and then they stopped. And it's gone. There's a reason for this, people.
And I'm engulfed in politics all day, every day. That's all I listen to on the radio. That's all I watch when I come home. That's all I talk about on the internet. And I didn't hear anything about this shooting except for the fact that it happened.
According to looking at my timeline, it was 2.5 hours. That's all the time it was up. 2.5 hours, it was gone.
It was gone in 2.5 hours?
What I'm looking at.
A mass shooting happened, and they let it go in 2.5 hours? The media didn't jump all over it?
Now, so much for having a, good tragedy go to waste here. Man.
Yeah. I thought that they weren't supposed to let a crisis go to waste. I mean, that's been their playbook. I wonder if there's something that makes this not suitable for exploitation. What do you think, Ro? What do you think of your girlfriend's wonderful immediate jump to anti-gun, anti-gun, anti-gun?
I've been telling you this for a while. This lady's a piece of crap. She is. She doesn't waste any second. If anything of this nature arises, she's the first one to put this out in the tweet. She's the first one to talk about this on a TV show. She's the first one to do anything because she's the biggest piece of trash on this earth. And for these politicians to politicize this is ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's one of the most dirtiest things that you could ever do. And, this just shows the character of her. And if you vote for her, if you like her, if you like any of her ideas, which, by the way, are not even her ideas that she's stolen from other candidates or she's found it out of the Stalin playbook, you should be ashamed of yourself. And this is a prime example. This lady doesn't understand what she's doing. If I was one of these people's family members, I would be ripping these people a new one. I would honestly, I'd look into even trying to sue them to politicize this and to make some kind of money off this, because the next thing that comes is fundraising. You know, gun control. I'm going to do all this gun control for you. I'm going to pass all this stuff. By the way, donate me $2. What a scumbag this lady is. She should be ashamed of herself. All these people that politicize this crap should be ashamed of themselves. And if you like these people or like their ideas, shame on you. Get away from me. You're just as much as a scumbag as she is. And let me tell you, this lady has no bounds. She will do whatever she can to get ahead. She'll do whatever she can to become president. And if it's standing on the corpses of dead people, this lady will do it.
Why, yes. Yes, she will. You know, and it's I'm sure that she immediately regretted hopping out there and thrusting her name into the conversation about this issue. Because, you know, the original reports, they didn't identify the scumbag. Yeah. Well, as it turns out, they found out who he was pretty quick. And this is why this whole thing went down the memory hole. From InfoWars, Milwaukee mass shooter is a black Elizabeth Warren supporter. Wow, this disappeared from the discussion quickly from February 27, 2020 by Paul Joseph Watson. The Milwaukee man who killed 5 coworkers at a beer company's corporate office is a black Elizabeth Warren supporter, providing a clue as to why the mass shooting disappeared from the discussion so quickly. I don't know why they're bringing race into it. Race really isn't relevant. It's the fact that he's an Elizabeth Warren supporter. 51-year-old scumbag McJerky-ass showed up at the Miller Coors facility from where he had been fired earlier in the day wearing his uniform and carrying a silenced gun, which, as it turns out, was not accurate. It was not a silenced gun. It was a long-barreled revolver, which is why that disappeared from the narrative too. He proceeded to gun down 5 colleagues before turning the weapon on himself. It subsequently emerged that this guy was an Elizabeth Warren supporter, presuming that he shared the same political beliefs as his wife, who took a selfie with Warren at a rally last year. Let's go ahead and shift to, let's see, where is that? Doggone. I knew I put that out there. Apparently well, anyhow, here we have this individual and his wife. Scrolling down, where is it? Well, dang it. Here, let me find this right quick here. I will add source, media file. Where's it at? Here's a screenshot of a tweet with this gentleman's wife, who, as you can see from this picture, is the same lady. There's her in the picture with scumbag. And here's her in picture with the other scumbag, Elizabeth Warren. And you can tell clearly it is the same lady. She's even wearing the same pair of glasses. Talking about great energy tonight from Elizabeth Warren's town hall. So glad I went. So, as it turns out, this guy, or at least his wife, is a Hiawatha supporter. But, you know, that's not all, because let's go ahead and follow this. This is the tweet that exposed this from Yim Yames. He replied to a tweet from Warren that about the incident, outing this person as a supporter of Warren. Let's go ahead and go to the tweet. Oh, wait, we can't. It got memory hold. This tweet is unavailable. Twitter took it down. Isn't that rather convenient? The guy's wife posted photos of her family in expressing liberal political views, confirms Heavy.com. In July 2019, Farrell's wife attended a speech by U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren at South Division High School gym in Milwaukee. Following the speech, Scumbag's wife took a photo with the Massachusetts senator. Despite being the worst mass shooting in Wisconsin's history, the incident has largely disappeared from headlines and discussion, with online outrage noticeably dampened in comparison with other mass shootings. I hope it's clear to everyone that if political capital can't be made off of a tragedy, it will get memory hold faster than the Jussie Smollett hoax, commented one Twitter user. Well, sounds right. So there you have it. That's why this disappeared from the national discussion so quickly. Because this guy was a Pocahontas supporter. The last of the Mohicans, Hiawatha, whatever you want to call her. And no, not exactly what you want to call her, roll call. We can't talk like that on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Does this surprise any of you guys? I mean, not only do they exploit an atrocity whenever they feel they'll make some political hay over it, but if they feel that it hurts them and their willing accomplices in the media, bury it. Disgusting. Despicable. How did we get to a point in this country where we allow this kind of thing to happen and go unchecked?
They had no shame. Elizabeth Warren is not. She's not fazed by this. This affected her for about 2 hours, and it moved back on because it's all about Elizabeth Warren.
Oh no, he studies Elizabeth Warren like it's his job.
Everything that he said about her is valid from studying that he's done about this person. She is terrible, and race matters, unfortunately, because they make it matter so much. That's why you have to point out the fact that he's a black guy. That's why you have to point out his age. That's why you have to point out his political affiliation instead of just calling him a dirtbag and forgetting that he existed and focusing on the victims.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing there, Kingpin. Race definitely has a massive deal with this. Imagine if this would have been a white guy and a Trump supporter. This would be nonstop for the next 3 months, continually nonstop for the next 3 months.
I want to lay this down. Now, I'm not going to call myself an Elizabeth Warren expert, but I've been talking about this bag of poop for quite some time. Ever since she first showed up. You're welcome. I've been talking about her since she showed up on that stage the last couple of years trying to run for president. And I looked into her, and I'm deeply disturbed how this lady has gotten away with all the crimes she has committed. And it shouldn't surprise me, but it kind of does, because she's gotten caught, no pun intended, red-handed. That's what her new Indian name should be, red-handed.
Yeah.
And remember on the stage, she looked at Bernie Sanders and said, supporters of anybody's party should be held accountable. Guess what, lady? You should be held accountable for this jackwagon that went and did this dastardly deed. You should be crucified on that stage at the next debate, just like you crucified Bernie.
Oh, well, if I were one of the Dem candidates, there is no way I wouldn't bring this up.
If these guys are going to sling mud at each other, I hope this is in the pocket of Buttigieg and all the rest of them, because she's just as responsible for this mess than anybody else.
Yep. And
for the media on the other end to damn silencers again,
when
suppressors, cans. When one wasn't even involved, this should. Well, I guess we'll use it. The term, this should woke you. You should be woke by this. They want this stuff. They want your stuff. You have cans, they want that stuff. They want every last piece. They've done it from time to time. Since I was at the gun rights policy conference all the way on. This is what they want. They can't get your guns, right? They can't get all of them. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to get it part by part. And this is one of the methods to do this. It's to spread misinformation. And this was probably a revolver. in any sense. I haven't really looked into the store, but they're going to start taking your parts. We've seen it with magazine bans. We've seen Elizabeth Warren go on countless talk shows, sit on a national stage and say, we're going to ban AR-15 mags. We're going to ban high-capacity clipazinis that hold 700,000 roundies. She is a complete devil. She's a wolf in sheep's clothing. These young people, I feel sorry for them because they're going to follow this lady all the way down to the bottom of the barrel. And it's not my fault. It's these naive kids that keep on pushing it. I've been telling everybody to go watch her Twitter feed, watch what she says, look at the people's comments, look at the age difference in the comment section. The majority of it is a bunch of young kids wrapped up with a bunch of crazy old white ladies. And I'm going to tell you, I've been saying this before and I'll say it again. They don't hold this lady accountable for this guy. There's something up, man. There's something up. And you guys are already talking. This is starting to get swept under the rug.
Well, she may be the chosen one. Just like Hildebeest was at the last one. She may be who the DNC wants. So the super delegates will be in play. Unless Bloomberg buys them. Which he does have the money to. Kingpin points out that you're absolutely right, Ro, that they are trying to ban firearms one part at a time. Look at the California precursor parts bill. Absolutely right. Seven says, yeah, I heard that revolver had a 30-round clip. Yeah. Well,
when I was at the gun rights policy conference, I kid you not, they put on that big screen everything that they wanted to ban. And it wasn't the guns per se. It was the parts. They want your parts. They want you. They can't take your guns, so they're going to take your parts. They're going to ban parts, or they're going to restrict parts, so you can't have these things. I'm telling you. Or they'll redefine it.
Like bump stocks. That's a camel's nose under the tent, you know? It's just stupid. Well, let's see. Let me go to one more thing about this issue. As some of you probably know, someone brought up earlier out there that it was an alcohol manufacturing place, bottling place, canning place in that business, so it was probably a gun-free zone. Hey, guess what? From the gun feed, shooting in Milwaukee was in a gun-free zone, which I like this little meme. You idiot, you can't threaten me with that. This is a gun-free zone. This is a tweet by Mr. Bain. Said, at Gun Talk, shooting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Miller Molson Coors Brewery today, you could see no guns allowed sign in bottom left as media is talking gun violence ahead of Democratic DNC in Milwaukee. So look down here in this right there, and let me go right to the tweet and expand on that. Gunbuster sign right there. It was a posted place. How'd that sign work out for you there, folks? How'd that sign work out for you? I know it's probably inappropriate to be a sarcastic jerk about it, but, you know, what else am I going to do? Because that's exactly how I feel.
Maybe the sign was like covered by a limb of a tree at the time when the guy walked up with his gun and he couldn't see the sign.
Yeah, that probably did rob it of all of its magical powers. If you can't see it, it's not there. It's not in effect, right? It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
I think we need to sign a petition to make the signs bigger in bold letters.
That might work.
Maybe some neon, spice it up a little bit.
That might work. I mean,
gun-free
we have to do
zones and signs
something,
are a
right?
fallacy.
We have to do something. Don't we?
Well, unless you don't care. You know, what is it? You don't care? You don't want to... We got to do something. What, don't you care?
No, man, I don't care about the children at all. They should be working for pennies on the dollar. Yeah. No, I get sick of this garbage. It's tiresome. It's soul wearying.
Half the time, it's the children doing the killing. I just read a story from Chicago that a 15-year-old kid has been charged with murder, shot some lady in the chest. So don't give me the children thing. It's kids killing kids. It has nothing to do with protecting the children.
We had a 13-year-old in my building recently who pled true to murdering a 14-year-old girl that he thought he got pregnant. He lured her out into the alley and executed her. And she wasn't even pregnant. Not that makes a difference, but he executed her and then went to the Y and played basketball and swam all day. Nicest kid you'd ever want to meet. Inside the building, he was a model youth. I really, really liked the kid. Once I could put what he did to the side. But yeah, you got to remember that. But aside from being all murdery, he was a pretty good kid. Because they have no compunction about it, no concept of the consequences. You're right. Kids will kill you quicker than an adult will.
Well, most of these adults. Oh, go ahead, Glenn.
Go ahead. No, I knew I read this somewhere, and when you were saying about the suppressors, I do. Somebody made a comment about this. The Safe Hearing Act of 2019, suppressor bill S-202, was reintroduced in the Senate on January 24th, 2020, by a handful of Republican senators. The bill seeks to remove federal regulations on firearm suppressors, making it easier to own them. Gee, and now what? 3 days later, we have a shooting involving a suppressor. So they say.
Allegedly involving a suppressor. I don't think it was.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But just
wow,
it's funny how things coincide like that.
Convenient.
Isn't it, though?
Convenient. Oh, well. Let's move on and talk about something a little bit better.
Good.
I mean, we do have some more jackassery in store for us tonight. I mean, that's kind of the nature of the things that we have to talk about. But we try to end it on a positive note, a little bit lighthearted, have some fun with the moron of the week and then the self-defense shoutouts. But yeah. Anyhow, those of you who've been paying attention know that right now I'm running a sticker sale / giveaway where if you go over to my website, grab yourself a limited edition commemorative NRA meeting 2020 in Nashville sticker, you're also entered for a chance to win a couple of fabulous prize packages. Yes, I'm going to be a self-promoting commercial whore here. Please bear with me. Nobody else is going to promote me but me, right? Anyhow, all prizes are in play now. Anybody who gets a sticker is in the running to get everything. Prize package number 1. So somebody will walk away with prize package number 1, in addition to your sticker and your random piece of NRAM swag. You will also could also get Fiachi 6-24x50 illuminated reticle scope, a Swagger 129 bipod, courtesy of Clover Tack Productions. So thank you very much, Clover. That's awesome for you to donate that. That is a freaking $155 bipod, and he just donated it to whoever wins this. And $220 worth of gift cards from Palmetto State, which is the cost of a Ruger EC9S, or you can buy an upper for that, or you can buy a complete lower and a build kit. All kinds of stuff over at Palmetto State that you can get with $220. That's over $400 worth of stuff. But wait, there's more. Because Ghost was kind enough to chip in for prize package number 2, sort of the consolation prize for a second lucky person who will walk away with over $140 worth of stuff. A pair of Venture Gear Tactical Sentex 2.0 eye protection and Venture Gear VG80 ear protection. Plus, a Fiachi Falcon 1-4 by 24 illuminated reticle scope. So, as I said, that's over $140 worth of stuff. So that's what? Right around $550 worth of fabulous prizes that you could win. So, the way you get this, and I will throw the link out there in El Chatteroonie, is to go on over to www.budgetgunsandgear.com or follow this link directly to the sticker page. And at the bottom of any page on the website, you will see this lovely, wonderful PayPal button, which will allow you to decide how many stickers you want there and go from there. Go ahead and grab some, get in on this. By the way, this picture up here, that's what the stickers look like. They're actually on the way right now. I just got an email today. They're being shipped. So that's a wonderful sticker, even though it has my mug on it in cartoon fashion, which, by the way, thanks to G-Webs for that. Go on over to gun websites and, gear websites and check out all his patches and stickers and all cool Second Amendment related collectibles and memorabilia. He has a lot of cool stuff over there. It is Friday, so if you go over there today, you will get a free patch with every order, too. So go check out Free Patch Friday on gearwebsites.com. But there is more to this because anybody, let me go get over to the main. Because anybody who orders, let me back up, not just anybody. The first 2 people who order stickers tonight, if you order 2 or more, you will get a wonderful Budget Guns and Gear Reviews hat. Here is a picture of what the hats look like. I got 8 of them, 2 of each of these colors. And this blue right here, this light blue, is not so much blue as it is blue. Let me go back to the main. It's actually a darker blue than that. And then there's this really dark navy blue. So I've got blue, lighter blue. Let me go back there. 2 hats. Blue, lighter blue, red, and brown. And they all have this wonderful Budget Guns and Gear Reviews patch on them. So first 2 people, you'll get your choice of to get 2 or more stickers over there. You'll get your choice of this hat thrown in too. Here's another view of all the hats that I have. So as you can see, I have 2 of each color. And like I said, this blue isn't quite so blue. But wait, there's more, because the first person to get 5 stickers tonight during this broadcast will get this sent to them as well. This is a 5 C's of Survivability kit. For those of you who don't know the 5 C's of Survivability, it's a concept pioneered by Dave Canterbury of Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School, which, by the way, if you can ever afford to... Note 7, this is for... this is for people who do this tonight, but you know what? I'll send you a hat anyhow because you're good people. Anyhow, first person to get 5 of these tonight gets this. This is a 45-liter pack. It's kind of looks like I deliberately didn't choose a tactical type pack. I choose a backpacking type pack. There's nothing wrong with this. It just isn't long enough for me. My torso length is quite a bit longer than this pack is, so it doesn't fit me worth a squat. But it's a good little pack. Anyhow, you will have in it your cover element, which will be this grabber space blanket right there, which is a really good. 2 of these fleece throws, and the Covacure mosquito net hammock. Along with that, you will have your container, this stainless steel cup and steel water bottle. You'll have your cutting tools, this Mora Carbon, brand new, never been used, and this Camillus Carnivore X machete, which I did a review on. It's not a bad machete at all, just I really don't use machetes. For your combustion device, you will have this Swedish Fire Steel Mini and 4 pieces of fat wood. So get 5 stickers tonight during this broadcast. First person to do that gets this little bug out, not really bug out kit. It's more of a get home bag, 5Cs kit. It's an emergency thing. You have everything here from, plus you'll have some cordage too, 25 feet of paracord and a bunch of bank line. So that you can set up a shelter any place you might have to if you have an emergency. This stuff's worth well more than $50. Matter of fact, this backpack's just $50. So, this is a steal. So go on over and grab that. Now that the blatant commercialism is done. Hi, Squib. How you doing? I didn't see you sneak in there. I was too busy trying to pimp my stuff.
Doing all right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother.
I am broadcasting from my mobile studio.
Outstanding. Were you able to catch any of the broadcasts so far talking about Warren's connection with this Milwaukee scumbag?
No, unfortunately, I was kind of tied up earlier, so I couldn't. But
did you have to pay
I
extra
can go
for
back
that?
tomorrow and watch. I can catch it on the replay.
Well, just to kind of catch you up to speed, the reason that this Wisconsin-Milwaukee shooting suddenly disappeared from the national discussion, from the media, is that he is an Elizabeth Warren supporter. There was a picture brought out of his wife taking a selfie with Warren at a rally, and that's why this whole thing went away. That's why they stopped trying to exploit the atrocity. Scumbags. But all that shouldn't surprise
Just seems
anybody.
to me like over and over again, they look into the political background of each one of these mass killers and keeps pointing to the same thing, don't it?
Mm-hmm. They're liberals. They are left. I don't necessarily want to say Democrat because I don't want to paint with that broad brush. I prefer to think of them as left-wing liberal persons, because there are Democrats who belong to that party and who identify with that party who aren't left-wing liberals. I know some, but they just identify with the Democrats versus Republicans for various reasons, but they're not necessarily left-wing socialist radical types like these mass killers tend to be.
They're not that much different.
Jeez.
That's all. I mean, it's funny, but it's funny, but I'm actually being serious too. I was thinking about that all day. Even a moderate Democrat is still not a decent human being. I mean, you'd have to convince me of that.
I wouldn't go that far at all. They just have different priorities than we do.
Yeah, their priorities are taking all your tax money. I mean, we could go down any Democrat policy, and I can't support any of them. I don't see how anybody could if you expect to live in a free country.
Yeah, I have to agree with David on this one.
I understand people. People are good in general. Most people are good, and some people who are good people vote for Democrats because they get their news the same way most people do. They get the coating, the icing on the top, and that's it. So it's not that they're corrupt. It's that the mass media paints it a certain way, and most people just going about their day get their news that way. But if you dig down into any Democrat policy, you'd have to convince me why you support any Democrat policy. I can't see one.
Well, here's the thing. I think you need to draw the distinction here between rank and file Joe Sixpack Democrat and Democrat politicians, Democrat Party leadership, Democrat Party officials. You have to draw that distinction because I don't believe rank and file, Joe Six-Pack factory worker Democrat, that's how he votes because that's how he votes. I don't believe that they are for all of that crap. I think that they tend to be more low information type voters.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I made the caveat. I'm not.
I mean, they're not. I don't think the rank and file is bad people. I think they're just simply misled.
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
Budget, I've had the discussion with people who chronically vote Democrat, who complain about conservatives, Republicans, right-wingers, you name it. But then they complain when there's a Democratic policy that raises their taxes or screws with their health care or does some other injustice to them. And I look at them and every time and I go, you vote for this. Do you not realize this? So if you want to say, sure, they're low-informed voters, low-information voters, or they're the average Joe six-pack who just does what the UAW tells them or whatever, that's all good and fine. It's still no excuse. Get your head out of your butt and think about what you're doing. If you want to pay more in taxes, if you want to let illegals come into the country and commit crimes and get away with it, if you want to take away people's freedom, if you want to turn everything into hate speech, if you want socialism, if you want then that's what you're voting for, even if you don't realize it. I don't care that you don't want to think about it or you're not interested in politics or thinking independently. You're responsible for it because you showed up to vote. Just don't show up to vote if you don't care.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree, but again, we do more harm than good by painting with that broad brush because what we're doing then is if we're all Democrats are X, Y, and Z, when really they're not, we're making enemies of the ones who actually could be turned to our side.
Well, that's why I make the
side, and they're already our enemies because they vote against freedom.
They need to be educated about what the real issues are.
Well, that's why I make my distinction is between that's why I said if you know anything about a Democrat policy and you vote for one, then you'd have to explain to me why, because it's not a good policy in any way, shape, or form. If you just turn on your local news and hear, the Democrats are for the working folks. Oh yeah, I'm a working folk. I like the working folks. I'll vote for the Democrats.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I don't know how many times I've had the conversation. So what do you think about this issue? Oh, blah, 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 yada, yada. Okay. What do you think about this issue? Oh, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Well, what do you think about this issue? Oh, blah, 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 yada, yada. And every time they blah, 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 yada, yada, they're really taking a conservative viewpoint. Well, who do you vote for? Oh, Democrats, because the Republicans are for the rich people. And I say, but you know what? The Democrat Party believes this, that, and the other thing, which is entirely different from what you just said. What? No. Yeah.
Yes, I've had this conversation several times myself, Budget, but you know what they do next time it's election time? They vote again to flush their freedoms, our freedoms, down the toilet. And they'll do it again and again and again and again and again. Very few people one day wake up and go, hey, wait a minute. I've been voting for things that I'm not for. I've been voting for things that hurt my family. I've been voting for things that I don't agree with. Very few people do that.
I did.
Most people just keep doing what they're doing.
I did. When I first started voting, I voted Democrat because I was mystified and bamboozled. When I woke up to it during the next election cycle after watching 8 years of 4 years of Clinton got me to start voting Republican. I woke up to it and changed my position, changed my affiliation because I realized where my positions actually aligned. So it's possible. You don't give up the fight because most people aren't going to be turned. You just keep at it.
It's very easy to be hoodwinked. Because Squid works at night. You work mid shift. I work in the morning. So each and every one of us are going to wake up and throw on some clothes, throw some food together, say hello to whoever we have in our household at that time or whatever, and then trudge off to work all day and deal with a bunch of stuff that we don't feel like dealing with. And that's going to be 300 other million people in the country every day. So it's really easy to just flip on your TV in the morning while you're brushing your teeth and packing your lunch and hear the local news say, the Democrats are for the working people, and the Republicans hate freedom and want to take all your money and blah 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 blah. And or if you take away guns, bad stuff will stop happening. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Bad guys don't got guns; they can't kill people. Then they turn the TV off and leave. Not everybody is as in depth as in the politics and guns and the Constitution as we are.
No, but that's why I do things like this, hoping that I'll catch somebody who might be interested in guns, through the other parts of my channel, or camping, or the survival stuff or whatnot, and then get them to sit and listen to the issue and realize where their actual affiliation should lie, instead of where they have been giving it, because that's what happened to me.
I'd like to say Kingpin's numbers are off because Joe Biden said 150 billion people have died in the country. So Kingpin's wrong.
Did he say 150 billion or 150 million?
150 trillion. 150 trillion with it.
Well, we'll talk about Uncle Touchy here in a little bit, because I'm sure y'all have figured out that he's contestant number one.
He's just a reoccurring.
He's got a permanent spot.
He should have a reserved parking space. Seriously,
he has a permanent spot as a contestant in the Moron of the Week, because all I gotta have to do is just watch the news and see what Uncle Touchy said, because he'll say something.
Do you have like a ledger of all the past winners written down, or is it just on your video archive?
Just in the video archive. I'm going to have to go back and...
Whoever gets it the most repeated times gets Moron of the Year.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm planning.
Then you can have like a retirement category where, Joe Biden won for 12 weeks straight, so he's automatically, the grand exalted moron of the week or something.
He went full moron.
Moron of the century.
But anyhow, let's go ahead and, speaking of morons, well, really they're not morons, they're actually very deliberate. Here's a piece from AmmoLand by Alan Gottlieb. If you'll remember earlier, I talked about Dancing in Blood, where Gottlieb and Workman exposed the media's playbook, the media's and politicians' playbook that they use anytime one of these atrocities happens. Well, another playbook broke out with them, got revealed, leaked. New gun control playbook to push red flag laws, from February 21st, 2020. Bellevue, Washington. The Second Amendment Foundation is cautioning the public about a new toolkit embedded below, and I will put the link out in the chat, for gun control lobbying groups to help them campaign for passage of so-called red flag laws that create extreme risk protection orders, designed to take firearms from people based on allegations from family members, intimate partners, or others, raising concerns about due process. The document, leaked to AmmoLand News, was produced jointly by the Alliance for Gun Responsibility, the Giffords Gun Control Group, and the Educational Fund to Stop Gun Violence. This document, noted SAF founder and executive vice president Alan M. Gottlieb, raises alarms because there's a lot in it about taking someone's guns, but only 2 paragraphs about returning firearms to their rightful owner. He recalled an earlier 80-page guide, reportedly paid for by Michael Bloomberg's Mayors Against Illegal Guns, discovered during an internet search that provided strategies to anti-gun groups for mounting gun control campaigns in their communities. He co-authored a book about that experience titled Dancing in Blood, Exposing the Gun Ban Lobby's Playbook to Destroy Your Rights. By the way, I'll be doing a book review video of that in the near future. I'm reading it now. Gottlieb's alarms were raised by the inclusion of a letter from a California sheriff's official that referred to a May 2014 multiple murder in Isla Vista, California, as a shooting spree. 6 victims in that rampage were stabbed or slashed to death, Gottlieb recalled. It also suggests the shooting occurred at the University of California Santa Barbara campus, but it didn't. The term gun violence appears throughout, but there's not a word about knife violence, nor any mention of the fact that the killer bought 3 firearms, all legally with background checks and waiting periods. We're all for preventing violent crimes and tragedies such as suicide, he added, but there are genuine civil rights and due process concerns related to the use of such orders to disarm someone following a court hearing they may not even be aware of before they have a chance to defend against any allegations. This guide asserts guns are temporarily removed, but that is not really the case in some instances. This document calls itself a toolkit for saving lives, Gottlieb said, but it talks more about taking guns from people than protecting their rights and means of self-defense. So far as we can tell, this is just another gun control strategy guide aimed at preventing gun ownership rather than preventing tragedies. And it has the whole thing embedded. And the link to that is out there in the chat right now. So if you guys want to go over to that Ammo Land article and check this document out, feel free. It is scary stuff how organized these people are in their approach to wanting to take our rights from us. And it's what's even more frightening is that we aren't. We're like herding cats, but I would say we're like trying to gather up a pool of mercury with a fork. That's how we are, unfortunately. We don't want to go in the same direction at all. We're fractured and divided, and we've talked about this before. These people put aside their differences and work together to enslave you. And we have to start doing something about that, people. We have to start working together to combat this. We need to have our own talking points. We need to have our own playbooks. We need to have our own strategy guides. And we need to follow it. We need to stop with this, oh, you damn FUD. Oh, you tactical tard. You know, I don't care. Screw them bump stocks. I want my shotgun. Or, I don't give a damn about shotguns. I want my uber tactical LMT AR-15 super duper space gun. Well, you know what? You're just poors with them Anderson poverty pony lowers, you know? We need to stop all this bullshit. Stop it. We all should be for the same thing, the one thing. And that's the Second Amendment. Preserving our rights to enjoy whatever it is that we want within that 10. But we don't do that. We're too busy sniping at each other and bitching at each other and fighting with each other over dumb shit to work together to defeat the people that are the real enemy. You know, I've seen this meme, and I'm sure you guys have before. It's like a GIF or something. This video, these 2 antelopes fighting each other, and all the rest of the antelopes start running away. But these 2, oh no, they're fighting each other, while in the background is coming this lion, running right up to him, and eventually jumps on one and kills it. That's what we're doing. We're those 2 antelopes fighting each other while the lion's coming for us.
Yeah, I say it all the time. The left throws a bomb, and then we sit there and fight over it. You know, anytime something firearms related becomes political, you know, the left will come out and say something, and then it'll usually be us fighting with each other over it while they're sitting back laughing.
Oh, and you don't think they laugh at us for this?
Of course they do.
For how fractured we are? You are absolutely right, they do.
These people are corrupt. They're not stupid. And they have no morals and they have no shame. We have morals and we have shame. So what is the first thing they're going to attack us with? Our morals. Exactly that.
Yeah. Well, that's part of Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. You find out You find out what your enemy's standards and rules are, and you hold them to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And anytime they drift away from that, you pounce on them. That's what they do.
But just look at this example you covered earlier. You know, we always complain when, you know, a Trump supporter punches somebody and they make a huge deal out of it. We're like, look, that's not our responsibility. That's that one guy that did something he wasn't supposed to do. And then when the Bernie supporter shot Steve Scalise, none of us were like, hey, you know, that's Bernie's fault. We were like, look, that dude's crazy. Bernie is crazy, but that dude chose to shoot that guy. Bernie didn't do that. But that's not how they play. They never play that way. They know we'll play by the rules, so they use the rules against us every chance they get.
Yes, they do. By the way, we got a taker for the 5Cs kit. So hey, if you want to put yourself out there in the chat, awesome. But just want to let you guys know we got somebody who will be the proud recipient of that. I'll get that sent out to you ASAP. I won't wait for all the rest of it. So thanks a lot, man. Hopefully you never have to use it. But if you do, could mean a difference, you know? Awesome. I'd advise, hey, matter of fact, take what I'm supplying in that and run with it, you know, add to it or take away from it as you need. But I think that's a good base to start from. Thanks a lot. Still got 2 people out there who could be having one of these wonderful, awesome Budget Guns and Gear Reviews hats. You know, if you aren't interested in the sticker sale and or giveaway, I guess I could part with these for like $15 a pop if you want them, because I know there have been people who've been pestering me about hats. So here you have some. Just shoot me an email and give me your first, second, and third color choices in case somebody else beats you to it. So yeah. Let's see. What are you talking about, Warsaw? Oh. Anyhow, so there's that. You know, the forces of evil are still on the march and they are organized. And the red flags are how they're getting to us. You know, we've talked earlier about how they want, you know, they can't approach gun control from a direct standpoint, so they're trying to find ways around the sides to get the flanking attack. Red flags are part of it, and it is a planned part of it. Make no mistake. In good news, out of the dry...
We have good news here in Arizona? No.
Yes. Yes. This is from counton2.com. Nation and World News. Arizona's most populous county becomes gun sanctuary. From Terry Tang, Associated Press, from February 26, 2020. Phoenix, Arizona's most populous county on Wednesday, joined a growing national movement in which areas are declaring themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries and proclaiming support for gun ownership rights. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors voted in Phoenix to declare the county a Second Amendment preservation county, following dozens of counties nationwide and 4 others in Arizona that have approved similar symbolic resolutions meant to stave off gun control policies that could be seen as unconstitutional. The resolution in Maricopa County, which has about 4.4 million residents, simply says the board supports the right to own guns. The proposal lost some of its edge when the board dropped a stipulation that government funds would not be used to infringe on gun rights. Supervisor Steve Gallardo, a Democrat, denounced the politically charged resolution. Let's think about this. A resolution should not be divisive, he said. It should not be partisan. Chairman Clint Hickman countered that multiple constituents had expressed support for the sanctuary designation that was first used in 2018 in Illinois and quickly spread to California, Colorado, New Mexico, Florida, Virginia, and other states, including the Buckeye State of Ohio. There is a 2A sanctuary movement here. Sanctuary city is a term more often associated with cities trying to restrict cooperation with U.S. immigration authorities. Some Second Amendment sanctuary supporters say their decision to use the term was a deliberate knock on Democrats who support immigrant sanctuary cities. In Arizona, gun owners are already free to carry a concealed firearm without a permit. They can also bypass background checks if they buy their firearms at a gun show. Bullshit. However, federal background checks are required for other purchases, and we'll talk about this paragraph here in a minute, because this fellow's bias is absolutely showing. Minority Democrats in the Arizona legislature regularly introduce measures to boost gun regulations, including bans on high-capacity magazines and assault weapons, but the bills are routinely defeated. Gary Larson, a gun owner from Glendale, said he had never spoken at a public forum but felt compelled to comment Wednesday because he fears restrictions that could clamp down on his freedoms. Protect the rights of gun owners but critique the people who are asking to own guns, Larson said. Gun control activists, including members of Moms Demand Action, slammed the resolution as a black eye for the county. It feels a little bit like fear-mongering, Marie Thurl, a member of the group, said during the public comment period. Boy, that's rich. Someone from Moms Demand Attention talking about fear-mongering? Please, that's all your organization is built upon. Well, that and Bloomberg's billions. Garrick McFadden, a former Democrat congressional candidate who is black, said the resolution doesn't help communities of color. There's 30 handgun deaths in America each day, but 15 of those people are black people that are killed, McFadden said. One of the things that needs to be done is reaching out to your constituents, not just the ones who came up to you and said they fear their rights are being infringed. Well, that would be all their constituents' rights would be infringed. So, yeah.
And yes, you're right. 30 handgun deaths occur in America each day, and 15 of those are black, and 99% of them are done by gangs.
Yes.
Okay, next. Okay,
exactly.
That's right. We can't talk about that. Yeah, we can't talk about that, though. To clear that one up, yeah. Oh, yeah, you can go to a gun show and not have a background check. Now, in Arizona, that is correct if you have a permit. If you have a permit,
or it's a
you
private
can bypass
sale,
the background check for a firearms purchase. Or a private sale, correct.
But as all of us
But yes,
know,
in Arizona, he is correct.
As all of us know, any federally licensed firearms dealer who is at a gun show must process a Form 4473 and do the background check and or accept your concealed carry permit as your background check if they so choose. That we can do that in Ohio as well.
Yep. That's what I got to do every time I go to a gun. That's the way it has to be.
But speaking of the gun show loophole, this is a piece from Bearing Arms by Tom Knighton. No, there is no gun show loophole. This is from February 27th, 2020. The phrase gun show loophole is meant to convey the idea that gun shows are rife with people buying and selling guns without a background check. The clear implication is that such places are a hotbed of criminals trying to obtain firearms for use in their illegal activities. Hell, many of the people who use the term even believe that such a loophole exists. However, writing over at AmmoLand, Florida gun rights activist Marion Hammer notes that a recent Department of Justice study found that to not be the case at all. Be aware, the so-called gun show loophole is just another manufactured anti-gun fraud. There is no gun show loophole. Period. In 2016, the U.S. Department of Justice conducted a study of prison inmates. Included in that study was the collection of data to show where prisoners get the guns they used in the commission of crimes. The DOJ press release explains how the study was conducted. The pie chart of DOJ data distills the information and makes the results more clear. The full DOJ report gives more detail. The bottom line, gun shows accounted for 0.8% of firearms acquired by criminals, while underground/street purchases accounted for 43.2%. Of course, this isn't anything new. We've known for quite some time that criminals get their guns on the black market. In fact, just 10.1% obtained theirs from a retail source of any stripe. Another 17.4% of criminals got their guns at the location of a crime, such as stealing it themselves or from someone else who brought a gun, such as a partner. That's more than 60% who obtained their guns through some form of illegal means. So, While anti-gunners continue to push for universal background checks to curb the tide of guns, it's important to remember that most guns used by criminals aren't subject to background checks. Couple that with the 10.1% that passes background checks, and you end up with almost 71% of guns used by criminals not being slowed down in the least by universal background checks. Additionally, the 25.3% of guns used by criminals that come from an individual are often from a friend or relative. In fact, 10.8% are bought for the prisoners. In other words, they're straw buys. The rest usually comes from people who likely know the criminal status as a felon and sell, trade, or rent the gun anyway. In other words, there's little reason to believe universal background checks will do anything but make life more difficult for law-abiding citizens. Either way, though, this does pretty conclusively prove that the gun show loophole simply doesn't exist, and even though face-to-face sales happen at gun shows, they're not remotely the reason criminals have guns. They've got them because they're criminals, and this is what criminals do. They get guns so they can break the law. New laws won't stop them either. You need to do something to get them to not want to commit crimes in the first place, and that's not going to be accomplished with gun control laws. After all, murder control, rape control, and robbery control haven't exactly slowed them down, so I don't know what good gun control is ever going to be.
So one of the things I'd like to know about those statistics are how many of those legally purchased guns by criminals, quote unquote, were really a gun that somebody purchased and stuck in a closet and then 5 years later got angry and committed a crime with that gun. They make it sound like, John Q, corner thug, gangster guy goes to the gun store to buy his gat so he could smoke his rival gang member and pour out some 40s for his homie or whatever. You got to be careful with the statistics, because half the time statistics are just trying to prove a point as opposed to making a point.
What, you mean people that do surveys and collect data just might craft their collection means, their surveys, to artificially come to the conclusion that they want to come to? That's awful cynical.
No, that would never happen. No,
yeah, no, buddy. Come on, budget. Don't be one of those guys.
Social scientists are ethical people. Sorry, I couldn't maintain a straight face on that one.
Yeah, so are Democrat politicians. But anyway, moving along.
No, just politicians in general. That's not a Democrat sickness, as we know here in Ohio with our wonderful Bloomberg buddy. Because I don't think he's met a gun control law since he's become governor that he hasn't enjoyed. Mike DeRhino, rotten some bitch. Ohioans, you should have voted for Taylor in the primaries. Damn it, then we wouldn't be in this problem. I don't believe she would have gone for all this crap like DeWine is. DeWine.
I like the idea that somebody came up with that. We just give all the left-wing nut jobs. We just give them all the states on the West Coast and all the states on the East Coast, and the rest of us take like everything else. They can get all the crime. They can have all the problems, and we'll just.
If we could amend, we also take Florida. That way, we can have the entire Gulf of Mexico, because the Gulf of Mexico is beautiful. So
yeah.
Good. Well, we have Texas, so we can actually get to the Gulf there too a little bit, So, but no, Florida sounds good too. I liked Florida when I was down there.
We'll give them Washington and Oregon and California, even though the state's beautiful, but we'll give them that, and we can have the rest of the country. Sounds good to me.
That works.
Sounds good to me. That way they can go there and do all the stupid things they want and leave us alone. And speaking of stupid things...
And now prepare yourself for another tale of stupidity in this episode of Moron of the Week.
Today's first contestant should, as we said earlier, should have a permanent place. He should always be contestant number one. Uncle Touchy Joe Shotgun Biden. This is a piece from Breitbart. Fact check. Joe Biden says 150 million Americans died from gun violence since 2007. During the South Carolina Democrat debate, former Vice President Joe Biden claimed 150 million Americans have died since 2007 because gun makers cannot be sued. Verdict: false. Joe Biden alluded to the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, the passage of which protected gun manufacturers from lawsuits in scenarios where the gun in question was legally made and legally sold. He equated this protection with absolute immunity, saying, "It has caused carnage on our streets. 150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie Sanders voted to exempt gun manufacturers from liability." The CDC lists the number of American deaths for the year 2008 as 2,471,984, for 2009 as 2,437,163, and for 2010 is 2,468,435. The leading causes were heart disease, cancer, respiratory problems, and accidents. In 2017, the numbers were very similar, with death totals just over 2.8 million. 150 million Americans did not die due from gun violence between 2007 and 2020. But I think I have a link in here to a video of Uncle Touchy. Well, let's just hear Uncle Touchy himself.
Who can get this done now?
Because I'm the only one that ever got it done nationally. I beat the NRA twice. I got assault weapons banned. I got magazines that could not hold more than 10 rounds in them. I got them eliminated, except we had a thing called an election with hanging chads in Florida, and it was not reauthorized. In addition to that, I passed the Brady bill with waiting periods. I led that fight. But my friend to my right and others have, in fact, also given to the gun manufacturers absolute immunity. Imagine if I stood here and said,
absolute BS.
We give immunity to drug companies. We give immunity to tobacco companies. That has caused carnage on our streets. 150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers.
That's almost half the population of the United States.
From liability. More than all the wars, including Vietnam, from that point on. Carnage on our street. And I want to tell you, if I'm elected and I'm coming for you and gun manufacturers, I'm going to take you on and I'm going to beat you. I'm the only one who's...
I mean, it would take Thanos to do that. You moron. Good God. I got to wonder if he's going senile. But I digress. Because we have actually, we have 3 contestants this week. Our next is Mini Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg appeared to say he bought 21 Democrats their seats in Congress in a cringeworthy debate gaffe. In a cringeworthy slip of the tongue, Mike Bloomberg at the Democratic presidential debate in South Carolina on Tuesday night almost said he bought 21 congressional Democrats their seats in the 2018 midterm elections. Let's just go on the record. They talk about 40 Democrats, Bloomberg said, referring to former Vice President Joe Biden, his rival, who had previously boasted of his work helping secure victories for House Democrats in the midterms. 21 of those were people that I spent $100 million to help elect, he continued. All the new Democrats that came in and put Nancy Pelosi in charge and gave the Congress the ability to control this president, I got them. But, hey, let's hear Mini Mike in his own words.
All of the new Democrats that came in and put Nancy Pelosi in charge and gave the Congress the ability to control this president, I got them. Number 2, when you...
Did you hear that? Let's play that one more time.
All of the new Democrats that came in and put Nancy Pelosi in charge and gave the Congress the ability to control this president, I got them.
He started to say it. I got that. So there you go, Mini Mike. Your slip of the lip. Well, remember what loose lips do, right? And last but most certainly not least is the babysitter in this story. This is from CNN from February 26, 2020. A 10-year-old boy was accidentally shot by his babysitter while she was taking selfies with a gun, police say. A 10-year-old boy was accidentally shot by his babysitter while she was taking selfies while holding a gun, a Texas sheriff's office said. The boy was taken to a hospital in critical condition but is recovering. The incident occurred at an apartment in Houston on Tuesday evening when the 19-year-old relative who was watching the child found a gun, according to tweets from the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Thinking the weapon was unloaded, the girl started posing and taking pictures with it, authorities said. That's when the gun went off, hitting the boy in the stomach. The child was taken to the hospital in critical condition, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez tweeted. His condition has improved and he is stable after undergoing surgery, Senior Deputy Thomas Gilliland told CNN. The investigation is ongoing and no charges have yet been made, Gilliland said, although they should. So, there you go, folks. Our 3 contestants for Moron of the Week are Uncle Touchy, Mini Mike, and Bad Babysitter. Here in the chat, Squib, the irascible yet lovable Squib Load. Who do you think should be the Moron of the Week? Uncle Touchy, Mini Mike, or Bad Babysitter?
You know, I'd like to give it to creepy Uncle Joe, but it's got to go to the babysitter.
Bad Babysitter. Roll call. Who's the worst, Uncle Touchy, Mini Mike, or Bad Babysitter?
Well, we know about the other 2 morons, but I'm going to vote for the babysitter. But I expect that from these young kids.
Babysitter. Kingpin. Who's the worst actor here in your opinion?
Well, Joe is depleting quickly, so I'm not voting for him. I was going to vote for Bloomberg because he should have enough money to have a staff to teach him how to do these debates. But once I heard the story about the babysitter, that's a runaway victory right there. The babysitter wins hands down for me.
Glimtech, who do you think?
Well, let's see. Good old Uncle Joe. He's Uncle Joe, and he's old and senile. Bloomberg, I can't blame him because he was telling the truth. They're actually a piece of truth almost came out of his mouth.
He was just dumb.
But I am going to vote for the baby. Yeah, exactly. But I am going to vote for the babysitter. Absolutely.
All right, out there in the chat, this is where you have a chance to decide their fates. There are 26 of you out there, so let me see some votes. Mini Mike, Uncle Touchy, or Bad Babysitter in 3, 2, 1, go. And I hate this lag because now I got to sit here and wait. Guy that comments says sit on chairs, not babies. All right, go ahead with the votes, folks. Let me see. 7 says babysitter. Midnight says babysitter. Come on, folks, give me some votes out there. Warsaw says babysitter. I wonder if this was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez babysitting this kid. Gabe Stark says babysitter.
You know, I do got to give AOC a little bit of credit.
Ozzy says babysitter.
When she did the garbage disposal video, at least she still has all her fingers.
Oh, there's true on that. Jason Stewart says Biden's babysitter. Well, because she didn't shoot him? Midnight. The first couple people that get 2 stickers get a hat as well. Just send an email and let me know what the color choice is. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? Because so far right now we are at 9 for babysitter. That seems to be the universal consensus. Yeah, Ghost, the babysitter was doing selfies with a gun and shot the kid she was babysitting. That's the bad babysitter. First thing she does when she finds a gun in the house of the kid she's babysitting is pick it up and start taking selfies. Had her booger hook on a bang switch.
Well, not according to the person who wrote the article. I think he ought to get an honorable mention here because I guess she was trying to remove the clip and had her finger on the trigger or something like that.
Oh,
it was something weird the way they had it marked.
Babysitter. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one. It's the mercy rule. It is 11 to nothing for the babysitter. So 19-year-old babysitter down in Texas, you are, and well-deserved, the moron of the week.
And there we had another tale of stupidity in this week's episode of
Moron of the Week.
Oop, wrong thing. Here we go. That's
The babysitter got more votes than Warren did.
Guy that comments says, can we get FUD of the week? You're going to have to ask Clover to do that contest. That's Joe Biden.
But you ought to do a home defense video with that axe. Put 2 rounds in it. Stand out on the back deck.
I live in town, dude. You want to get me arrested? I live in the middle of town. You get my ass arrested, man. Just buy a shotgun. Speaking of that, boy, I got to tell you, man, using that thing to shoot trap the other day, that was freaking fun. That was the first time I'd ever shot trap, and I decided I'm going to try it out with that axe, man. I didn't do too bad. I'm kind of hooked on that now. So's the boy, which is a good thing because I found out that day that our local high school, in conjunction with the Sportsman's Club, is going to be opening a youth trap league. And to start having a trap program to compete with some of our local schools. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to get him involved in that because he started doing it too, and he was having a hell of a lot of fun with it. So I think that's a cool thing. I wish they'd have had that when I was young because I'd have been involved in it.
Yeah, so anyway, I do want to amend that and give that honorable mention to the guy who wrote this article.
Yeah.
After having trouble removing the magazine clip, squeezed the trigger in an effort to loosen the clip.
Oh my God.
Believing the safety was on. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, he gets an honorable mention.
Yes, Midnight. 2 tickets and a hat comes with, in addition to the chance to win the fabulous prizes, plus your stickers and swag.
So how do you guys get the clips out of your guns if you don't squeeze the trigger?
Very carefully.
Well,
there's a release on the one-hand side. It'll eject the clip. Oh, you weren't specifically speaking of the M1 Garand.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to get the clip out of one of them. I've never actually handled one.
If you want to eject it, there's a button on the left side.
Is there? Cool. I figured there had to be a mechanism to unload it.
And then when you eject it, it goes flying, right?
Warsaw says Biden says you don't need an AR-15, buy a shotgun. So if my wife is being held hostage and I'm aiming at the bad guy's head with a shotgun with birdshot while my wife is held hostage, I don't think so, Biden. I'm sticking with the AR-15. Well, it depends. How bad do you want a divorce?
Think about this for a second.
I shouldn't joke like that.
If Joe Biden would have come out and said, buy a pump action shotgun and dump about 3 or 4 shells into the bad guy's stomach. And then Barack Obama was like, I'm a two-way all the way type of guy. Imagine how many people who are anti-Democrat right now would be voting for Democrats.
I know, right?
Because Obama's still going to take your insurance. He's still gonna crash the economy. He's still gonna do all this to kill American citizens without due process, bomb more countries than anybody else. But he's gonna protect your gun rights. So think about that for a little bit.
You're mean, Pancakes. Funny, but mean. Well, now it's time to go ahead and start closing this out and go on to Roll Call 219's favorite segment, Self-Defense Shoutouts. For those of you who are new to the show or who have never stuck around to the end of this dumpster fire, Self-Defense Shoutouts are not where I'm relishing in and reveling in the proposition that the bad guy is taking a dirt nap. It is where I'm instead reveling in the fact that the good guy had the means, method, and opportunity to keep the bad guy from making him take the dirt nap. Because that's what it's all about. First off, would be a honorable mention contestant for the Moron of the Week. From, where is this from? WFLA.com. Florida deputy shot axe-wielding intruder who broke into her home, sheriff says. Talk about picking the wrong place. From February 26, 2020. Apopka, Florida. An off-duty deputy shot a man multiple times as the man broke into her Apopka home with an axe, Orange County Sheriff John Mina said. Mina said around 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, a man who had been attempting to break into numerous homes used an axe to break through the deputy's door. The sheriff's office said the deputy, who was at home with her children and in fear for her life, shot the man multiple times, but he still got in. Well, that's one tough sumbitch right there. Might have been doped up, too. The deputy struggled with the man.
When he got through the door, did he say, "Here's Johnny"?
Yeah. The deputy struggled with the man and was able to handcuff him when more deputies arrived at the scene. The man was taken to Orlando Health and is expected to survive. Mina said the man will be charged with a minimum of armed burglary. So, yeah, I don't know how the heck he survived, but she shot him up. Good for her and good for her kids.
I think the deputy needs to go back to some firearms trading.
Yeah, no kidding. Next up, from AL.com, Montgomery Real-Time News. Intruder shot multiple times, gravely wounded in pre-dawn home invasion. Clemens Road in the Flatwood community. Sheriff Bill Franklin said the scene is a residential area that consists of about a dozen or so mobile homes. A man who, along with his wife and young child, were awakened at 4:55 a.m. by a loud banging at the front door. The homeowner grabbed his 9mm handgun and went to investigate. When he got to the front door, he came face to face with 39-year-old Charles Bone, who lives nearby. At that point, the sheriff said, Bone told the newcomer, "Give me your..." expletive. I can only imagine that he said, "Give me your shit." Brown then reached toward his pocket, and the Bone then reached toward his pocket, and the homeowner said he feared the intruder was going for a gun. The homeowner fired 4 to 5 rounds, shooting Bone in the head, bicep, shoulder, and left leg, and then called 911, which was the smart thing to do. If you ever have to shoot somebody, make sure you're the one that calls 911. That way you're the complainant. Just a little tip here. Bone was airlifted to a Montgomery hospital where he is in critical condition. The sheriff said a crack pipe was retrieved from Bone's sock. Well, that explains it. Franklin said Bone spent time in prison in Indiana and has previously had at least one other confrontation with another neighbor. He said he does not expect any charges to be filed against the homeowner. "We don't have that many home invasions in Elmore County," the sheriff said. "It's not every morning you wake up at 4:55 a.m. to somebody inside your front door. That's pretty rough." So, good on you, homeowner. Good on you. And last but finally, not least, from WMTW.com, Maine man shot by people he was trying to rob, police say. From Auburn, Maine. When was this from? This is from February 25th, 2020. Auburn, Maine. One man is in critical condition after police say he was shot by the people he was trying to rob. Auburn police say just after midnight Monday, a man and woman were talking after work in a Center Street parking lot. They were approached by two men, one of whom was holding a gun. The suspects demanded money and the victim's cell phones. One victim told the pair he needed to get those items from his car. Inside, he pulled out his 9mm handgun and fired several shots. The pair ran off but didn't get very far. When police arrived at the scene of the robbery, they also got a call about a gunshot victim in the same parking lot. It was later discovered that the gun used in the robbery was a BB gun designed to look like a revolver. These guys should have been on the Moron of the Week, too. Bring a BB gun to a gunfight? William Beasley was arrested and charged with 1 count of robbery. His accomplice, who has not been named, is in critical condition at Central Maine Medical Center. Police say the investigation is ongoing and more charges are expected. So there you have it, folks. The good guys defending themselves against the bad guys in at least 3 instances, despite what the lamestream legacy media would have you think. And on that happy note, I'm going to go ahead and start rolling up the sidewalks and putting away the awnings here. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and let's go ahead and run through the panel and see if they have any words of wisdom, final thoughts, and plugs that they'd like to make. Squib, anything that you'd like to add to the discussion?
Yeah, actually there is. So the moron of the week, you said that she should be prosecuted, and I agree. If she wants to say, well, nobody ever taught me how to handle a firearm safely, or I didn't think it was loaded, or I didn't think it would go off, it doesn't matter. Those are excuses.
Yep.
Well, for the person who votes to take away all of our liberties, who says, well, I don't care about politics, or I wasn't informed about what was going on, or I didn't think this was going to be what it was. I thought it was what the name of the law was. I didn't think there were all those things in the law. They're the same thing. They are just as responsible as the person who has an ND and hurts or kills somebody else. I understand that it is not the law that you have to be informed about what's going on and you have to use critical thinking and stuff. It's a choice, just like firearm safety is a choice. I have friends and family and co-workers who are left-leaning liberal Democrats and who always vote that way. And some of them are the people that I've had these conversations with, like what you're talking about, where they complain about this and complain about that. And I go, well, you voted for them. Or they talk about very conservative things. And I'm thinking, how can you say you agree with this and agree with that when you vote against it, when you vote to make these things illegal? So I think it's a matter of personal responsibility. And if you want to be lazy or ignorant, that's not my problem. I'm not lazy or ignorant. So I'm not asking anybody to do anything I don't do.
You, sir, are like a dog with a bone. You just won't let go. And I love you for it. Roll call. Would you like to add anything?
Thanks for having me, man. Good chat tonight. You can find me on YouTube at Roll Call 219. You can find me on Instagram at Roll Call 219. Find me on Twitter at Roll Call 2010/219. Where I tweet Elizabeth Warren every day and tell her what I really think about her. I want to thank all my Patreons. First of all, you guys are all going to be getting something in the mail here soon. I just put everything together, all the packets together, so you'll be getting some stuff in the mail. I don't know if I'll be in Tulsa coming up here. It looks like I'm not going to be. So I might be shifting gears here and focusing on NRAM. I should be getting my stuff together for that tomorrow to send to them so I can show up there and do whatever I do. So go check out my channel, like, comment, subscribe, share your favorite gun content all over the interwebs. And like always, we'll catch you on the next one.
Kingpin, is there anything you'd like to say, sir?
Yeah, I've got some words of wisdom.
Please, expand upon them.
Be here next Friday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters for the right of the people with Budget Guns and Gear reviews.
Why, thank you, sir. Glimtech, anything you would like to close out with?
Well, thank you very much for the invite. And actually, the only time zone that matters is here in Arizona, where we never have to change time. But thank you for the invite, and it was fun.
Where can people find you?
Nowhere in Arizona.
Okay. You don't do any content or anything?
Yeah, I don't do any videos right now.
Oh, I thought you did.
Nope. I don't. I have a channel set up, but I haven't put anything on it yet. One of these days, maybe when I get the recording squared away from our steel matches, maybe I'll start throwing some of those up.
Awesome.
But until that point in time,
well,
we're just here causing havoc.
Thank you to everybody on my panel for coming and being part of the show. You guys make it easy. Make it absolutely easy. And speaking of thanks, I definitely want to thank you guys out there in the chat. You know, it's because of you that I do this. I am always humbled and amazed that you would choose to spend your valuable Friday night time sitting here listening to me. I don't know why you do it, but I'm glad you do. As always, I'd like to leave you with this. In these dark and dangerous times, tell your Congress critters and elected representatives what you think about their efforts to strip you of your constitutionally protected, naturally given rights and freedoms. Send them snail mail, email, telephone, telegraph, heliograph, carrier pigeon, smoke signals, drum messages, runners, bicycle messengers, anything you have to do to let them know what you think, and never, ever, ever give up the fight. I'll talk to you guys later.